basically get online and share their experience with other people. I want to talk about that in a second. We've also got an interesting development of social networking sites being used for healthcare. So if you go to Facebook, or another one I'd recommend, Organized Wisdom, you'll find some very interesting things going on in there to do with sharing healthcare information. Obviously of great interest to the younger people in the room and in society at large. The idea that if you're spending a lot of time in these places online, then having access to easy to digest health information is quite a good thing. And then finally, you've got things like media publishing. You've got the ability to retrieve or even to publish your own health information if you wish on YouTube. You've got podcasts, which some hospitals are now using, and also I think called care pages. I want to show you care pages in a moment if we have time. I'll be quick. How long do I have? A few minutes more? Okay, I'm going to be quick. On the other category, we've got monitoring and alert services. These are more to do with they're more expensive. They require much more user involvement. They require equipment and so on. And you're well aware of the things here because we've been talking about them for the last couple of days. You've also got the idea of designed and managed services. So this idea of being able to sit with your doctor and make collaborative decisions based on good information. On the doctor's side, the best clinical practice, and on your side, the best information about you, which you may have collected partially yourself through the generation of your own health record. You've got disease management systems, and there are more and more of these appearing. We developed a very interesting one for diabetes disease management in Denmark, and it now has about 12,000 users and is growing quite quickly. It's essentially just a portal which allows you to, which helps the diabetes sufferer to manage their condition better and with better results. And then, of course, you've got the whole area of personal health records that I've touched on already. I want to briefly mention Continuo because I think we're going to cover this later in the day, but I think Continuo is critical to what we're doing in the area of personal health because it really is about standardization and interoperability. And if you look at the Continuo, this is a Continuo slide, if you look at that kind of view of the world, you can see that it consists of sensors, connectivity options, aggregation devices of various flavors, a network, and then, interesting to me, is really the services on the back end. Because there's no point in having a great hose pipe of healthcare data coming out of a network somewhere and just sitting in a server. You've got to start delivering services around it. So we see great scope and great opportunity for companies to develop these kind of services which will basically be used to manage the data and to calibrate it and to help the individual with feedback on their condition. So Continuo, very, very important from our point of view. Here's an example of a disease management portal. This is the one I mentioned, which looks kind of complex. This is the diabetes system, the dialogue system. But again, if you're a diabetes sufferer, you want to do the best for yourself, and you will take the time to kind of, to store and understand what a lot of these fairly arcane, perhaps, measurements look like. But in a sense, this is important because it gives the patient the chance to manage their own condition better. Just briefly on personal health records, when I looked at this, I was quite astonished to find a couple of weeks ago that there are now over 200 personal health records available in the market. That's quite a remarkable thing. How many people here have a personal health records? Anybody at all? Just me? Yeah. Okay, I guarantee within the next 2 or 3 years you will all have some kind of personal health record unless you take steps to avoid it. They're offered as benefits to employees. For example, IBM supplies its own personal health record. I don't have one of those. They're only available in the United States. But within 2 years, 80% of the IBM workforce in the United States, that's about 160,000 people, have taken up this offer and are now storing their health record online. It can be offered through commercial organizations, MyPHR, iHealth Record, so forth. Microsoft, Google, Revolution, we'll come on to that in a moment. And it's also being developed by governments as something that citizens might want to take advantage of. I just want to point out to you, do you have a moment? Yes? 2 minutes, okay. I just want to show you what I can, if I can find it. Here's Google Health. Interestingly, Google Health launched their online patient health record 2 days ago when this conference opened. I'd urge you to go and take a look at it. It's kind of interesting. that companies like Microsoft and Google are now getting interested in the healthcare market in a big way. What does this allow you to do? Well, I'll let you see for yourself. Start tracking your medical history and learn about your conditions. So you're basically putting in information about yourself. Import your medical records. They've set up the ability to basically go to your healthcare provider and your pharmacy and to import information about you that they now hold. So the concept here is to basically pull in information from existing EHR systems or EPR systems into Google. View your medical history, if that's of interest. Find out how medications interact with each other. Make your health information work for you. And search for doctors and hospitals. Now, I think at the moment this is going to be of most interest to people living in the US because clearly a lot of the connections made have been optimized for that market. But I think it's interesting. It illustrates that when companies like Google and Microsoft start to get interested in an area like this, it indicates that the market is ready for takeoff. Finally, I just want to conclude, if I can find out how to do it. I'm going to just conclude my remarks by saying we think that individuals are going to seek out and use web-based health information and use existing tools on the web to relate to other people. They'll do this with or without any medical involvement. This does not require healthcare professionals. This is just human nature that we're going to do this. So this will happen regardless. We think the most sophisticated use of technology, such as monitoring and management of conditions, will cost more and will be driven therefore more by specific clinical and care needs. And people, we think, will buy their own devices and will want to kind of, monitor their health by spending their own money on devices. But we think a lot of this is going to fall back to individual governments. Health information will be generated, aggregated, and analyzed in many new ways. And new services will emerge to provide access to personal health records, as we've seen, online. To activate the individual to get more involved in healthcare choice and disease management. And again, this is important. This is part of the agenda to say to people, you have to take more responsibility for managing your health, and you have to try to keep out of that right-hand side of the spectrum where it's going to become expensive and you're going to be very uncomfortable and inconvenienced because you're in the sector of the healthcare system that is not a good place to be. So encouraging people to do that for themselves is going to be critical, and giving them the tools to do it is even more so. And finally, we think that there will be services to provide continuous health monitoring and risk assessment services for the citizen. Thank you very much.